Andrew Jackson stands as one of the most remarkable people during his time period. For a bit of background, during the concurrent war with Britain during the War of 1812, Jackson's victory at the Battle of New Orleans in 1815 as a major general made him a national hero. Andrew Jackson attacked corruption within the government by exposing the corrupt bargain of 1824 between the House-elected John Quincy Adams, as it was widely believed that Clay, the Speaker of the House, convinced Congress to elect Adams, who then made Clay his Secretary of State. Jackson was then later elected in 1828 with his common man ideology that sought to expand rights of the common man. The Andrew Jackson era represented a change from the previous republic, led by educated elites, to a mass democracy favoring the common man. It represented a change by expanding voting rights to most white men, thus increasing voter turnouts and bringing more representation to the common people of America, who don't necessarily stand out as landowning and wealthy people. I demonstrate this power dynamic through pedestals, which should give a clear idea of how powerful politically the white man had become, where he went from no voting rights at all without land to having full representation within the country. Unfortunately, women wouldn't get any recognition until the mid-19th century, but it would be valuable to note that Andrew Jackson's expansion of rights to men would be an effective catalyst for the first women conventions starting during the 1850s. The chicken you see is an accurate representation of the oppressive, separate spheres ideology put on women that prevented them from having easy access to jobs or any other valuable position in society outside the home. One of the most remarkable decisions Jackson made was removing voting requirements at the state level. As states individually revised their constitutions to abolish property owning requirements, this significantly increased representation within the country, from solely landowning individuals to now all white men within the country, thus pushing for a more just and equal society at the political level. As you can see, no more property. A rotation in office was implemented through the spoils system. In total, around 900 to 2,000 federal employees were fired, with the idealistic intentions of preventing federal corruption by allowing new representatives to flow into positions. It had clear intentions of upholding democracy as it allowed the passage of new speakers, thus allowing the federal government to not become corrupt due to stagnant and plotting federal employees who could potentially become corrupt at any time's notice. While the mainly targeted people fired were Whigs, who opposed Jackson's presidency and called the spoils system corrupt. Whigs are predecessors of the previously cowardice Federalist group, who opposed the War of 1812 and only sought peaceful relationships with Britain, whereas Jackson is a war hero, and more than ever deserves autonomy over their place in the government. Whigs more than likely just got fired from their position. Take this as a gross exaggeration. Andrew Jackson vetoed the Second Bank of America in 1832, believing it was a monopoly that profited wealthy elites at the expense of ordinary farmers and workers. Jackson argued the bank concentrated wealth, favored foreign wealthy investors, and threatened democracy by exercising undue economic influence under the government, thus prompting him to veto. And instead, he boosted local pet banks by removing federal deposits from the Second Bank of America, and thus placed them into selected state chartered banks loyal to his administration, thus redistributing economic power from the federal government to the state. The Second Bank of America never actually blew up, but you could only imagine how Henry Clay and his Whig Party felt after Jackson absolutely sucker punched him in the face with his use of federal power to get what he wanted. Jackson believed that construction of infrastructure should be decisions made by the state rather than the federal government. He viewed infrastructure built by the government an overreach of federal power. Due to his strict interpretation of the Constitution, he viewed that it did not explicitly authorize federal spending on local or regional infrastructure projects, viewing such actions as improper expansion of federal authority. Thus, Jackson strongly appealed to the common man, as he displayed his ability to keep federal involvement out of the way of civilian lives by putting spending power in the hands of the state rather than the federal government. He framed Clay's policies as a corrupt mechanism that taxed ordinary farmers to enrich wealthy, connected elites. Jackson fighting against Henry Clay's American system underlined Jackson's adherence to states' rights and as a self-made individual resisting federal overreach, which an ordinary citizen who does not want a corrupt federal system would much prefer. One of the most controversial uses of federal power Jackson used was his Indian Removal Act of 1830 that authorized the president to negotiate treaties exchanging Native American tribal lands east of the Mississippi River for federal land west of the Mississippi. Jackson argued for the removal of Native American tribes to the west to open up land for white settlers and farmers, directly aligning with his demands of his common man ideology by opening millions of acres of fertile land for agriculture expansion, specifically for growing cotton that thousands of Americans would have access to and benefit from. And so, this includes all the major events during Jackson's time period that makes him so spectacular. From fighting war with Britain to fighting for civil rights, he did quite a lot to help his country. And I don't know if I have to point this out, but the amount of aura he has is absolutely massive. He had so much aura that his political group led to the growth of an opposing political party. He had so much aura that he was called King Andrew. And he has so much aura that Jackson did whatever he wanted without a care in the world, regardless of what the court said about it. Jackson proudly holds the donkey symbol and his opponent's nickname above his head as the Old Jackass. Now, without further ado, let the rivals Henry Clay and Andrew Jackson fight to the death.
Yeah, yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Not quite.
No, it's peak. It's peak.
Bring me back 2016.